You good?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
So, James, you're about midway through spring practice. How do you think things are progressing, and what stuff do you still kind of need to work on as you go through?
Yeah, I'd like to see some of the young guys kind of take the next step. We're halfway through right now, and a lot of them are still kind of hesitant and not as aggressive as they need to be defensively. I think we're playing actually pretty well right now. That's been good to see. But overall, we still got a ton of work to do before the spring game. I do think we've done a good job of laying a foundation in terms of what we're going to do in fall camp. But we still got a lot of work to do.
James, kind of in a similar vein, Venga this year, we're so 5.5 months away from the first game, but how's his spring been so far?
Venga?
Venga, yeah.
Yeah, he's the best looking 365 pounds I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he carries it extremely well. Because of some guys that have been limited or have some injuries, he's had to play center a ton, which I don't know if it's necessarily his natural position, but I think there's value in the fact that he's been able to create some position flexibility. He's a smart kid. He's a great kid. He's been awesome. So we're really, really happy we have him. I'll look forward to when we can get him more reps at guard, because I think that's going to be more of a natural position for him.
James, the updated roster is Abdul Carter 16 pounds heavier than he was last fall. He just looks a lot bigger. What was kind of your physical goal for him, and how have you seen him progress so far this spring?
Yeah, to be honest with you, for most of these guys like him, you can have kind of goals and ideas, but really in your first 2 years in the program, those guys tend to put on a bunch of weight. He came in already a big guy, so that was a little bit of something that we obviously were aware of from the beginning. But at the end of the day, what matters is what type of weight has they put on. You want to maybe go handle this? Torch! Go down there. Go down there! What was the question? I apologize.
Abdul Carter's physical.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's did they put on good weight and can they carry it? And he's put on good weight and he's carrying it well right now. So at the end of the day, the reality is as big as you can get and still keep your speed and quickness, it's a weapon. So right now, he seems to be doing a good job with it.
James, what's the big competition with special teams with your place kicker, kickoff specialist, and punter, all needing new starters there?
Yeah, I would say at long snapper, Dzansky has done a nice job. Really last year and this year, and he continues, and we feel really good about the whole group. But he's probably leading the charge right now. It's hard for me to say with the punter because we've been inside most of the time, so it's hard to really evaluate that. And then, when you talk about kickoff, I would say Gabe probably has the lead at that right now. When you talk about field goal, I think it's still a competition at this stage.
When you look at the spring you wanted to see out of Kalen King so far, have you seen it? What were some of the things you were hoping to maybe see from him on the field and off the field as he steps into what I would say is maybe a little bit bigger role this year?
Yeah, to be honest with you, very similar to who he's been since he stepped on campus. He's a guy who did not play like a freshman as a true freshman. Obviously took a significant step as a sophomore, and he's continuing to trend like that. He comes out, got the right mindset, and competes like crazy every single day, and I think he's trending to have another really good year for us. So, he's more of a leader through his actions and things like that, but he's done a really nice job.
James, what do you like about quarterback competition? I know you like competition at all positions. Are you seeing it elevate both Bo and Drew? Is it something that you've been impressed with this spring?
Yeah, I would say they have both gotten reps with the ones, which has been good. They're different style of quarterbacks, which I think that's one of the things we're going to have to do a good job with during the season. It's not like we can just come up with one exact same game plan because they're different type of quarterbacks. But I would say the majority of what they do is similar. They're both cerebral guys. They both got really high football IQs. They both really work at it. Obviously, Bo's got a little bit more of an element with his feet, obviously. And we'll see if we're going to use to take advantage of that. So we'll see how that plays out. But I think it's been really good. Those guys are working like crazy. At the end of the day, we better have 3 quarterbacks that we feel like we can win with. And Jackson's done some nice things as well. Obviously between now and West Virginia, we got a ton of work still to do. I think just throwing in general, we can't throw enough, with our wide receivers and tight ends and running backs and 7-on-7s, routes on air. We can't throw enough. So it's going to be really important from now till West Virginia.
Last week you said learn the Big Ten. So Mike is coming in 5 years ago. Do you feel like he's learned the style of the Big Ten and Manny Diaz last year? Do you feel like there's a learning curve for some of those things where you adapt and evolve in certain ways?
Yeah, I think that's probably more important. When you have a league that's got maybe some very specific offenses or defenses in terms of looks that you may not see a whole lot. Iowa State with a 3 safety look, a ton of 3-3 stack defenses, like unusual things that you don't see, or offenses, whether it's the option attack or really fast tempo teams. That's where I think getting kind of an understanding of the league and who people are, that becomes really important. But a league like us, I think the learning curve is less impactful.
You said last week that you guys are repping a lot of guys at center. I guess when you guys get into the fall, how do you hope those reps pay off for guys if they start repping more in guard and maybe other spots that Ryan mentioned at that point?
I'm not sure I'm understanding.
I guess guys that are repping at center now, how do you that repping at that position? How will that help them maybe learn if they have to play other spots on the offensive line later on? If you guys need to.
Yeah, I think if I'm understanding your question correctly, it's like I said earlier, it's creating flexibility. The more positions the better in terms of being able to get on the field. And not only here, but at the next level. I think also playing center and being the quarterback of the offensive line and how it all fits together and how they all have to complement one another. I think there's value in it, but I think there's also, obviously importance of getting guys at the position you think they have the best chance to play for us.
How has Drew Shelton looked at right tackle so far this spring?
Yeah, I think it's been a learning curve for him. He's not as comfortable there. It's amazing. Some guys can make that transition. It doesn't faze them. You're in a different stance. Your footwork obviously is different. And some guys can just flip over there and it doesn't faze them. It's been a little bit of an adjustment for him. But again, I think it's good. I do. I think it's been really good for him. And I'd rather go through some of these growing pains now than in the fall. And we have to figure out, we have to develop, we have to find a 4th tackle. That's going to be an important piece for us. Or we're going to be in a situation like we did last year where it's, flip Caden over and play him at right tackle, or keep him at left tackle and flip over Olu depending on how things go, but I prefer not to do that.
What do you like about Attack 2023? You guys seem very motivated coming into the year. What's it done thus far?
Yeah, I think he's really motivated. He's really talented. We have to help him take the next step because physically he's one of the more talented guys I've been around. So we got to find a way to help him to take the next step as a player. And I think when we do that, we could have 2 of the better tackles, if not 3 of the better tackles in the country.
Coach Franklin, what do you like about what Malik brings to you guys at wide receiver?
Which one are you talking about?
Malik McClain?
Yeah. Obviously, his combination of size and speed is hard to find. He's got pretty good quickness for a big guy as well, and he's getting more comfortable, with the offense. So that's going to be an interesting battle in fall camp, because I think right now in my mind you got Keandre and Trey who've kind of separated themselves from the pack, and then we got probably 6 guys that are all going to be battling for that 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th spot.
Where do you feel like you're at safety at this point? You have an interesting mix of guys who have played a lot of football and some guys who got their feet wet last year, but obviously I think probably win a bigger role this year.
Yeah, I think we're going to have at least a 2 deep of 4 guys that are going to play a ton of football for us on defense and special teams. So we'll see how that plays out. I think there could be some other guys that factor in there, but I think there's 4 guys that have kind of separated themselves right now, and guys that have made plays for us. So we're going to have to find ways to get them on the field, whether that is in our 3-down package on 3rd down, getting more of those guys on the field, or whether it's just rotating in normal situations. But I think they've shown enough flashes that they need to be on the field.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.